G'day guys, Shayne here. Did you know that you could do light painting with your phone? If you didn't know that you could do that, or you don't even know what light painting is, hang around. This is one of the most creative things that you can do with photography, and it's probably the most fun that you'll have with photography. Hang around, let's get into it. So when it comes to light painting photography, there's two types. One is when you have a subject and it's dark and you hit that subject over a long exposure photo with different light sources, and it brings out the angles and the textures in that subject, and it really is quite a cool way to photograph something. Happens a lot with cars and machinery and that sort of stuff. The second type of light painting photography is when the light itself is the subject and you move that light through a long exposed photo in the dark, and that light creates a pattern. And we're going to go through both of those today. So what do we need for light painting photography? First, we need a camera, and we're all about mobile phones here, so grab your phone and you're going to need to put it on a tripod, because these things are going to take long exposure photos. These could be 5, 10, 15, 30, 60 second long photos. So you're absolutely going to need to hold that camera still. So you need a tripod. The next thing that we need to get is an app, or some way to control the camera so it takes a nice long exposure photo. We're going to look at the slow shutter app, which is also for the iPhone. The next thing you're going to need is some light sources. You can go and get yourself a regular sort of torch. I like to use these ones because it's a rechargeable torch. You can adjust the brightness of that torch. So if you take a photo and you think, well, that's not quite bright enough, you can up the brightness of that torch, which is quite handy in light painting. I find it best to grab a few torches, at least 2, best having 3, because you can put one of those torches under a subject and light it from underneath, and it helps with the focusing and so forth on the camera. Now you can see there that the light was hit from different directions, and that's really what you want to achieve there. We can do some editing of this. You can put this into Lightroom or Snapseed later and get rid of some of those shadows on the tin that's behind there, but you get the general concept of this. You can do this with anything. Put a subject on the counter in your kitchen, make sure it's all nice and dark and lights it exactly the same way. It could be anything that you want it to be. It could be the motorcycle at the back, it could be your family car. It can be anything. It just can't move. Everything else that we use from now on, it's up to you. You can go and buy specific light painting tools, and these are tools that have torch adapters, blades, fibre optics, all sorts of things that do some really cool sort of patterns. Or what I find is kids' toys. Go to the supermarket, go to the kids' toys aisle, and you'll be surprised. All the things that light up in there, you can use for light painting. Do it on the cheap, and it's really quite effective. You'll be surprised at what it can do. One of the tools that I use is this light sabre tool, and it changes some colours. It goes through red and green and blues and so forth, but it stays on constantly with red, and that's a really cool colour to light paint with at night time. So this tool here is a set of fairy lights which I've turned into a tool specifically for light painting. I'll put a link down in the bottom there so that you can see what these fairy lights are initially, and then how you make them is getting a length of rope. You don't want to rely on the strength of the wire to spin this thing, and put all the lights together, tie them together with some tape, so you've got a cluster of lights at the bottom there, and as you spin this thing through the night sky, it's going to have a really cool effect with all those LEDs on the end. The way that you use this tool can be tricky, and it takes a lot of practice. I'm not going to lie to you. I've done probably 100 of these light orbs, and for every one that's really good now, and it's a perfect sphere, if you like, there's about 10 that aren't. So have a play with it. When you get it right, it's really effective. So the way I do it is I put something on the ground, like here, and I spin the tool backwards, and whilst it's spinning, I walk around the thing that I've just put on the floor. In this case here, it's that light, and I walk around that light backwards, and the light will spin over the top of it, so that the center of where that is spinning is over the top of what I've just put on the ground. If you don't do that, it won't be a perfect orb. It will be an off-center sort of an oval shape. So you want something on the ground and walk around that. The last thing we'll talk about here are these fibre optic lights that I have. I've got a couple of different colours here. We'll use the blue one tonight, and basically what I do is I throw these along the floor, and it creates a bit of a ripple effect across the ground in front of whatever light painting I'm doing. It can be really effective. Anyway, we'll show you how that one works tonight. So you've got your phone sorted, you have your tripod sorted, you're going to need an app to shoot with. We're going to use the slow shutter app that we've got here. This is specifically for the iPhone, not on Android yet. Android does have a couple of tools that are similar, but nothing that's quite as good as what this one is. So download that one, it's free and it's a really cool tool. First of all, with this slow shutter app, we don't really want to concern ourselves with too many things here. We want to concern ourselves with the gear icon down the bottom. We'll go into that and we're going to go into light trails, light trails. So the light sensitivity, turn it up to about 1/4, and the shutter speed, we want to set it to around 30. You can decrease it and increase it up to bulb mode, which you'll need a remote for. Bulb mode is basically when you hit the shutter button and you keep your finger there until you release it. It will take a photo for as long as you keep that finger on the shutter button. And the ISO, we want to put that up to about 25. You want to leave that really low so that we don't get too much noise in the photo. And that's it. If you go up the top there, into those 3 bars, you've got the self timer. I would recommend turning the self timer on just so that you don't actually touch the camera when the phone starts taking the photo. So leave it a couple of seconds, like 3 seconds it is on this one here I've set, and then you're done. You're good to go. You put the camera on the tripod, you put the subject in front of it there, and you hit the shutter button. It's going to count down 3 seconds, and then take that 15, 30 second photo, 60 second photo, whatever it is that you set it to earlier. Just like this. The best thing about this slow shutter app is that you can continuously build the photo. A few years ago I used to shoot Olympus cameras, and the Olympus cameras have this feature in them called a live view, and it's an incredible feature for light painting. You build a certain part of the photo and then you have a look at the back of the camera and you go, oh, I could do a little bit more here, and then build some more while the camera's shooting, and then build some more and check it again, build some more, check it again, and all the camera is doing is picking up everything that's light in the photo. So you can add more light and more light and more light. It's a really effective tool for light painting. This slow shutter app is very close to being what Olympus does. So you can take a photo. So in this photo here with the orb, I spun that orb to make sure it was right. As I said before, you do more wrong than what you do right. So I've built that one. It's a good orb, so then I wanted to add some more feature to it. So I added that blue features to it, and I used that blue fibre optic tool that I showed you before, and I put some blue into the photo, and I've gone, well, I want a bit more of that, so I put a bit more into it, and had a look again, hit the shutter again, put some more blue into it, had a look, hit the shutter again, put some more blue into it, and built it and built it and built it. It's a really cool tool for a camera on a phone to do this. It's fantastic. After you're happy with what the photo looks like, hit the save button and it will save directly to your camera roll. So that's it, guys. That's the 2 types of light painting that you can do with your phone. The second one, you're going to have an absolute ball while we're all locked down and stuck at home. So I really encourage you to get onto that. You'll have a ball. This is the second video in our long exposure photography with the iPhones. Up here I'll link to the astrophotography workshop that I did and how to shoot stars with the phone. You'll have an absolute ball doing that as well. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Every Monday there's a new video coming out showing you how to do something with your phone. Every Thursdays, the 3-minute Thursdays, we do some editing, and this week coming we've got some pretty cool, funky, fun things to do at home whilst we're in lockdown as well. So subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you know when I've done it, when I've released a new video, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.